Hey everyone, welcome back to Naughty Lily's Crochet, and I'm here today to show you how to make some pumpkins, how I do it. So you can see here that we have two different sizes. I really am been liking these white pumpkins lately, and this is in a more chunky yarn, and I like the little cinnamon stick on the top. You can either use the little twine to go around it, or this one had ribbon on it. So the basics for the pumpkins are the same, it doesn't matter what yarn you're using, really. So to get started, you are going to do your chain like you always do, and you are going to make it as big as as tall as you want your pumpkin to be, okay? So if you were to measure it like here and all the way here, you'd want it to be about this. Oh, my little cinnamon stick came off the top there. There we go. So for, I think like a medium one, I did in this yarn. This is not actually chunky yarn. This yarn is just the Red Heart Super Saver yarn in a size 4. And I'm going to be using a size 5 hook here. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain. I think I chained about 25 for the medium one in this type of yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So we'll kind of see how big that is. Okay. So if you want to measure it, that is a little bit smaller than this one. It is probably more the size of this smaller one. So this would be a large pumpkin. This would be more of a medium one. So we'll be making more of a medium one here. All right, so the stitches that we're going to be doing for these ones are half double crochets. So if you need help with that, you can look back at my other video to show you how to do that, but I'll still be able to show you a little bit here, okay? So when we're doing a half double crochet and we want to start going into our chain, what we want to do is put our hook in the third chain from the hook, okay? So this is a chain. This is your stitch, 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 or chain, I should say. This does not count as a chain stitch. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we're going to put it in the third one. So 1, 2, 3. So with a half double crochet, if you remember, we're going to yarn over first. Put it into the third one and yarn over, pull it through. You have 3 loops on your hook here, okay? So if you are going to use stitch markers, this is a good spot to do so. You start with that first stitch, okay? So that at the end, you can make sure to put your last stitch here. If you skip a stitch, you're gonna drop some stitches and lose that count of stitches, and you're going to make your work go kind of at an angle, kind of go all wonky there. So we're going to go all the way down. That's our first one, okay? So we have 1, yarn over, put it through, yarn over, and then we're going to pull through 3. Okay, so we'll do that again. Yarn over, put it through, yarn over, pull through 3. Okay, so we've done 3. We're going to yarn over, put it through, yarn over, pull through 3. Okay, so remember what we talked about. You have to kind of be careful and aware of what you're doing. This stitch already has something attached, so make sure you're not going into that one just because it looks kind of open and available for you to go into. You want to be looking at the V's here. So this one already has something on it. This is the next V right here. Okay, you just go straight into there. I usually just pull up the one loop there. So we're going to yarn over, and then we just put it through the top. Okay, yarn over, pull through all 3. So we're going to do this towards the end here. So we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Remember that you can always pause the video until you get to the end, and then you can follow me there. Say 14, 15, 16, 17, get more yarn here, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, we have one more, 23. All right, so we have 23 right here. So notice that we started with 25, but when we skipped 2 of those beginning chains, those ones are lost out of our count now, okay? So we now end up with 23, which is perfect. So here, what you're going to do, and 23 is going to be your count from now on, okay? So like I said, when we went into that 3rd chain from the hook, we lost the 2 that we skipped in our stitch count, okay? So we have 23, and that's going to be the count the whole time. So for our stitch markers and for half double crochet, we are going to chain 2. We want to chain to get up to the height, okay? If we don't chain here, our sides of our work gets all bunched up. We need to chain to the height so that it will go nice and straight over like that. So we chain 2 for a half double crochet, and this is not going to count as a stitch. So what that means, we turn our work, and we are going to go into the very first stitch. If there was ever a time where your pattern said that this does count as a stitch, it's kind of attached to this one right here, you would not put it in the first one, you would put it in the second one. But since a half double crochet doesn't count as a stitch, we are going to put it in the very first one, put our next one. So we are going to yarn over, put it through. So this is the tricky part. When we're doing these pumpkins, we're not going through both of those top loops anymore. So what makes the pumpkin have this textured look is to go in the back loop only. So if you look here at the top, we've talked about these V's, okay? So the V here. You are not going to go under and get both like you normally would. You are actually going to go from the top and just grab the back one, okay? Just from the top and grab the back one. So we are going to yarn over, go in the first stitch. We're going to go to in the top. My camera will focus here for you. Put my hook in, and then just yarn over and pull it through. You'll kind of see, you can see that it just grabbed the one here, okay? And then yarn over and pull through all. So this was our first stitch, remember, because the chain doesn't count. So what you're going to do, so that you don't lose count, is put the stitch marker at the very top through those both loops there. Okay, both loops there. Just like that, so that when we come back around, you know where to put your last one. Okay, so we're going to do that again. So you can see we want to put it in that back one only. We're not going through here like we normally would to grab both. We're only grabbing the back one. So yarn over, look at the top of your work, go down the middle, and then yarn over just like you normally would. Yarn over, pull through all three. Okay? We're going to just keep doing that. Yarn over, go through the top, grab that back loop only, yarn over all three. So yarn over, yarn over, pull through three. So I'm going to get to the end of this and then show you how to end that row, okay? We're almost there. We have 3 more to do. So we're going to yarn over, pull through, and now we have 2. So you can see that we have our stitch marker in this one here. We have to make sure to go into that one. I'm going to do this one first. All right. And we can take that out and make sure we go. Accidentally went through both there. And make sure that we just grab that back loop. And we're done here. Okay? So that is the end. And at this point, you can count to make sure that you still have 23, just in case. So we'll start with the one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Perfect. Okay, so remember, half double crochet. We are going to chain 2 to bring it up to the correct height. Turn it. And then we were going to half double crochet in the very first stitch. The one that this is still connected to, okay? And it's going to be on the top. So you're going to do this all the way across the top, still doing only the back loop only, okay? So what you see by the time we get done with this row is that texture. Okay, so it gives you this textured look with these sticking out. Okay, rather than just being flat like that the whole time. And it will give you this look. Textured. So next, what you're going to do is you're going to get it as tall. So this is just going to be a rectangle as big as you want it to be. But really what we'll do is you want it to be double this size, okay? So we want it to be double this size going this way. So if you want, you can measure what this is here, and then you can measure double going this way. So when you get double going this way, you can end. Don't tie off your yarn. We'll get to the end of this and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so what you should have now is this. Remember, it's going to be double this. So this is about double. You can kind of guesstimate if you want to. So then what you can do, you won't fasten this off yet. What we do is we put the two ends together like this. This part can be a bit tricky. We put the two ends together like this. And we are going to grab, if you can see, I'm going to grab each stitch together. Okay? So grab these two stitches together. And these two stitches together, these two stitches together. And we're going to do it by doing what we call a slip stitch. Slip stitch is a bit different here. So put these two together. Hold your yarn. This is probably the tricky part if you haven't really crocheted much. You are going to go into the tops of that first stitch. So just like you go into the tops and you grab the two loops here. And then you're going to grab the two loops on the side of the other one. The two loops here on the side. So grab those two loops. All right, so a slip stitch, we grab the yarn like we always do. We're going to come through both of the tops. So like that. And you have two loops. With the slip stitch, you are going to now take that top loop and put it through the bottom loop. Like that. Okay? So same thing all the way across. So we're going to grab these two loops from the front one and the two loops from the back one, if I can get it. Okay? And connect them. So we go in without yarning over. Now we yarn over, bring it through both. Bring it through both pieces here. Okay? And then that top yarn goes into the bottom one. I'm going to do this all the way across, okay? So for each hole, you're going to put it through. Make sure to put it through the back one that's right next to it. Do that. I hope that that makes sense. Okay. So again, this hole right here, and you have the two loops, right? Then you find the two loops that are on the one right behind it and pull through. So insert your hook, put through the top two loops there and the top two loops there, yarn over, make sure you get through both. Now you're left with two loops, but a slip stitch, you take this top loop and you bring it through the bottom loop, okay? So we just do that all the way across. This is just connecting the two sides now. To the last two stitches here, and I'll show you what to do from there. Okay, so we've come to the end. We have just a couple more stitches to do, so you'll see that now they're connected and the seam is right here. It won't even show very much. It'll really just look like more of the ribbing here. So don't get too worried if something happens and you don't have, maybe you didn't line it up perfectly. It really doesn't show that much, but we have 3 more to do. We have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we just stick it in again, the top, grab that one, take that loop. We don't have to yarn over, we just take the top loop and put it in. And it creates these little like chain stitches here. So we're going to do that again. Okay, and then we'll do the last one it's kind of on the side here. All right. So now that we are connected, we can fasten off. So you want to leave enough yarn, because what we're going to be doing is sewing this end together and then coming back and sewing this together. So I leave a good amount of yarn here, like this. So when you fasten off, what you do is you yarn over, you just pull it through, all the way through. So you pulled it all the way through and then you pull it tight. Okay, so now you've made like a little knot here. Okay, so for the closing up part, we need our darning needle. Thread it through. Okay, thread it through a bit like this. And now we're going to be weaving in and out of all these stitches. I say this doesn't have to be 100% perfect. Just try to make sure that it's even. So we're on this side. So what we're going to do is kind of go in. So you're going to be going in, out, in, out, in, out. So we're going to go in. You can grab like just the 2 stitches. So you can see here I went in. And now I'm going to immediately kind of go out. I'm going to go in, out, in, out. And I'm just kind of putting it wherever. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'll do this until it gets kind of bunched up on my darning needle. Okay, like this. And then I'll pull. You don't have to pull too tight yet, but just enough to... that one just got a little bit twisted there. Okay, so just enough to get all the yarn in, and we're still out here. So now we're going to go in, out, in, out, in, out, just kind of evenly spaced like this. If you don't like bunching it up, you can grab it each single time. It just seems a little bit more work, right? So now we're out, so we can go in and we can grab it if that works better for you, and then come out and then go in. But the way that I do it, I just find it faster to do that. So we're going to go in, out, until you get to your end here, basically, okay? And then you're going to pull it all the way like this. And this is the part that starts closing it. So you hold it and you just pull. You pull it like this, okay? So pull pretty tight. You don't want to break your yarn, but pull pretty tight and kind of hold that tight. Now you can kind of see, we kind of still have like a little bit of a hole here. So what we do, kind of grab this whole bottom part here. Maybe pull a little bit on the yarn still. And we're out here and we're going to go in and kind of get it on the other side. This will just help close up the hole. Okay, so we do it like that. And we'll kind of do it in different spots so that it doesn't end up flat and pinned together like in a rectangle like this, okay? So now just kind of go in different spots. We're going to go on this way just to close up this hole. And I do that, I don't know, 4 times or so, 3, 4 times. Do it again till you'll kind of see where the hole is. You grab it and go on the other side. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. What I do is, because it will get loose here, you're going to put a bit of a knot. So just a regular knot. I'm just going to go in somewhere else here, like this. Pull it through, but not all the way through, right? Just like you do a regular knot, if you know how to sew or whatnot. And put my needle through, pull it carefully, and now we're making a knot. This is going to hold everything in place, okay? So now we can just stick our needle through here on the inside. Remember, you can slow down this video, you can come back to it, whatever you need to do. So we pull it through here. All right, and then we're basically doing the same thing to try and close this, but we're not going to close it all the way yet because we need to stuff it, obviously, okay? So this one's going to start on the inside, okay? So just find a top stitch here, and you can go out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. And just kind of gather it on your darning needle. When it gets a little too full, and you pull it, okay? Same thing, in, out. I'm gonna do this till we get all the way across, or all the way around, I mean. So we're getting to the beginning. You can see because it's bunching up here, and you know that this is where we ended. I like to pull mine out so that it's on the outside, not on the inside at the last. And so here's where you're going to start stuffing, okay? So we'll stuff it as much as we can, and then I'll show you how to get it closed. Okay, so for your filling, you're going to use a PolyFill, okay? I usually use a different one that's not the, for the doll one. This one is a lot tighter. It squishes up and it's kind of hard to get through. So I usually use the other PolyFill, but really either one matters. So it doesn't matter is what I mean. So as long as it's PolyFill, you're just going to use some of this. You're going to start stuffing this in here. If you pull it, like let's say you accidentally closed it a little bit too much like this, you can just pull it like this, okay? So you're going to start stuffing it, and you will have this string that's kind of on the inside out in the way, so just go around it as much as you can. Okay, so you want to fill it up till it's getting that pumpkin shape. And this is kind of just by trial and error. You just fill it up as much as it works for you here. And you can kind of start closing it to see, like, oh, do I have enough, right? But I still need some. There's still some space in here, all this space. Take another big chunk, put that in there. I'm trying to get it. This one I feel like holds like a shape more, which sometimes I want it to kind of just fill the area, but it holds like a big lump. So I do like the softer PolyFill, but this is okay too. So then you can pull and kind of see, keep pulling and seeing, do I like that? Okay. That's pretty good here. So what we'll do is we keep pulling. Okay. Just like we did for the other side. Now we kind of have a bit of a hole. So there's kind of different ways to do this. I like to put the cinnamon stick in here. I've done it two different ways. I've left a little bit of a hole, if you can see with this one, so that it just kind of sits in there. So I leave the hole kind of open, which is fine if you're always going to have one of those in there. Or with this one, I closed it. And what I was going to do was to glue this in there. So you can do that too, whichever way works for you. I've been liking just leaving like a little bit of a space there. It's easier for it to just go in. There are other patterns where you can make an actual stem. I just like the look of the cinnamon stick. So if you get it where you want it, if you have a cinnamon stick, then you can finish by tying a knot here so that it will not open anymore. Okay, so if you want to leave that little hole there, you can just tie it here. If you wanted to make it closed all the way, you could pull it and do what we were doing, kind of going back and forth and pulling it to make it tight, or you can just put a knot here. So I'm just going to put a knot right here because I want my hole to be open. Okay, like this, not that. For this end, you can kind of weave it in if you want, or you can just poke it in. This stuff is kind of hard to get through sometimes. You can poke it in and just pull it through the other side. That will hide it like that. And then you can cut it off. If you want your pumpkin to have a little bit more shape like this one, you can use this yarn that was at the top here. Instead of hiding it and being done, you can use it. So what you do is you take the yarn, kind of go down the side here, and then you're going to poke it through the bottom. And like I said, this yarn is kind of hard. Not the yarn, the fiber fill is a little bit hard to get things through. So we're going to go straight through the bottom here, like I said, and pull it up. So when you do that, if you tug on it, you can see that it made this line here, okay? So then you're on the top again. You can just figure out where you want to make your next groove like that. And then put it through the bottom again, kind of holding it tight to make sure that it doesn't get too loose where you won't even see that. Okay? See if we can get this through. That's the one problem I've been having with this one. Okay, so like this. Okay, so once you're done and you figured out where you want all the little ridges to be, you are done. So you'll end up about right here. What I do, just tie another knot. So I grab onto some yarn here on this side. So I was here, just grab onto some yarn here. And I just tie a knot just to make sure everything stays where it needs to be. So pull on that. And then you can just hide this yarn, okay? Instead of cutting it here, because then you might see like a little end there. Just kind of hide it, poking it in somewhere, pulling it out. Woo, okay? And then just cutting it like that. Okay, so then you have this. You can put in your top there, and there you have it. Okay, so the only other thing is we do have ends here. So this end, just to be sure, I like to do a lot of knots. I just do like one more knot here, if I can there, okay? Like that. Then you can just hide it again like we did the other one. Just kind of poke it somewhere. There you go. Cut it off. And you're done. So like I said, you can either close up that one in the beginning, or you can leave it like this so that it's open to put your cinnamon stick in. All right, well, thank you for watching this video. I hope that this helped and that you were able to make a very cute pumpkin. And please like and subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more.